This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Monday, June 19th, 2023. I'm Gary Dick. Governor Eric Holcomb says recent investment from General Motors speaks to the state's history in the auto industry. GM said last week it will invest $632 million in its Fort Wayne assembly operations, supporting production of next-generation internal combustion engine pickup trucks, as well as more than $3 billion in an electric vehicle battery plant that would employ 1,700 at the Indiana Enterprise Center in New Carlisle. Those announcements follow additional GM investment in plants in Marion and Bedford. The governor talked about General Motors' commitment to Indiana on this week's edition of Inside Indiana Business Television.
Bodes well on multiple fronts when you think about the industry transitions that are occurring in defense and construction materials and mobility. Again, billions of dollars of investment has been occurring in the state of Indiana. So it's almost like the table's tilting toward our state when you think about steel production, when you think about cement production, when you think about defense with Rolls-Royce and Saab and GE Aviation, when you think about Skywater Semiconductors. Again, we are building the supply chain and the ecosystem where businesses, because of our proud workforce, want to be a part of this, success.
The governor recently returned from a trade trip to Portugal and France, a trip that included a conversation with Air France about the possibility of Indiana getting back a nonstop flight to Europe.
Our case is persuasive. It was when we had the direct nonstop flight to Paris with Delta. This is just a matter of kind of coming out of the pandemic, how the airlines open up different slots and routes around the world. And so we're a growing economy and a growing population, and it makes us very attractive for not just America, but for the world.
The Ball State University Board of Trustees has approved a development agreement for its previously announced revitalization plan for the Village commercial district that's adjacent to the Muncie campus. The plan includes additions to 5 sites, including a new performing arts center, hotel, and dining, retail, and residential space. When Minneapolis-based Medtronic announced plans in 2021 to shutter its operations in Warsaw, State Representative Craig Snow took it as a warning sign to take action. His response is expected to pay off next year when $30 million in state funds will be available to launch an initiative to retain orthopedic workers in northern Indiana. From the state's #1 source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio. For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting. Indiana will begin to permanently protect 570 acres of undisturbed forests in Putnam County through the Next Level Conservation Trust, a new partnership with the Central Indiana Land Trust. Governor Eric Holcomb's office said Friday the organization has now purchased its first land to be protected. Typical Indiana residents could see close to a 5% reduction in their electric bills if AES Indiana's quarterly fuel adjustment charge filing with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission is approved. It would be the third consecutive fuel adjustment drop for the company. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.